And thank you for joining us today. My name is Bob Smithwell. I work in business development at Black Gold Pump and Supply, and today I'd like to speak with you about our Black Gold Polish Rod Centralizers. So basically what our polish rod centralizers do is they protect the stuffing box rubbers. So here we have a Hercules Big Stuff stuffing box. It's composed of the cap and body, cone packing, and the upper and lower brass bushings. Now, we run a lot of Hercules Big Stuff stuffing boxes in conjunction with our polish rod centralizers, but they'll work just as well with Radigan or other stuffing boxes you may prefer. And when there's a lot of unit misalignment, wellhead movement, side to side movement of the polish rod, it's really going to take a beating on the rubber packing. So really your stuffing box rubbers and your brass bushings are the only thing that's really keeping that polish rod in alignment there, and they're taking, as I mentioned, the brunt of the beating there. And when you start getting the worn packing, you're going to get your stuffing box leaks, and sometimes these events can be quite catastrophic. They're a safety hazard, they're difficult to clean up, you lose production, you have downtime, and the agencies are getting tougher and tougher on these situations as time goes by. So we put our heads together and we came up with a solution here, and it's the Black Gold Polish Rod Centralizer. Now, the Black Gold Polish Rod Centralizer is really a pretty simple tool. It's just placed here between the stuffing box and the production tee. And what it does is it centralizes your polish rod. So it takes all that pressure off the stuffing box rubbers and puts it onto the polish rod centralizer. You'll see here the polish rod threads right through the barrel and the body of the centralizer. And the tolerance here is quite tight here. It's from 5/1000ths to 20/1000ths of an inch, depending on the OD of your API polish rod. The barrel is CRX. That has all the attributes and benefits of a Chrome ID barrel, but it has more resistance to acid. And the barrel lengths will ship. 18 inches are our most popular barrel size, but we can also ship them with barrels that are only 6 inches or 12 inches that also work very well. And I'll go through some of the advantages of those shorter barrels here in some of the subsequent slides. In addition to centralizing, it's also a great pressure decrease, the centralizer is, for the stuffing box. So as your production comes up through the tubing, it's going to go the path of least resistance and out the flow line. As you see, it's very, very tight here between the barrel of the polish rod centralizer and the polish rod itself. So you're going to have very little production going through there. In our test, on our flow line test, we saw about, say, 100 psi of flow line pressure, and our stuffing box was only seeing 35 to 40 psi. So there was a decrease of 60 to 65% the pressure the stuffing box was seeing in comparison to the flow line. Now here's a test we ran, and you can see right here we have a needle valve that's in a 1/4 inch NPT port right into the polish rod centralizer. Now we do ship some of our polish rod centralizers with that 1/4 inch NPT port when customers prefer that. And they can put gauges in that port, or they can put an oiler, but many of our production partners will prefer to have no port at all. So it's all depending on consumer choice.
This is showing the polish rod centralizer working. As you can see, the well's going on the upstroke right now. And this valve right here is wide open to the production fluid. So your packing elements are going to be up here. The polish rod centralizer is down here. And on the upstroke, that is all you see leaking. These little drops. This is a 2 3/4 bore pump running 5.8 strokes per minute, producing 520 barrels per day. That's all you see leaking. So the polish rod centralizer actually allows your fluid to go down into your flow line. So if you ever do have your packing wear or have blowout, you won't have catastrophic leaks all throughout your system. They'll all get pumped into your line, and this proves that concept.
Now here's a short cartoon that shows the functionality of the polish rod centralizer.
We live in a time where safety in the oil and gas industry has never been more important. Even though we try to prevent leaks by conducting maintenance checks on the wells, sometimes failures can occur at the most inconvenient times. So the engineering team at Black Gold got together and developed the Polish Rod Centralizer with safety at its core. The Polish Rod Centralizer helps preserve the stuffing box, so you'll find yourself having to change the packing and conduct checks on them less frequently. Here the well does not have a centralizer, so when the packing fails, your leak becomes more catastrophic with every stroke. In this well, we have Black Gold Polish Rod Centralizer. As you can see, the polish rod stays centered within the barrel, creating a differential pressure so no added wear occurs. That means a decreased chance of leaks at surface and a longer polish rod run life, which will have you... For more information on the Black Gold Polish Rod Centralizer, contact us.
Now here's a case study we did during the initial release of the centralizers. Now these units were very misaligned, had quite a bit of wellhead movement, and you can see the leaks were catastrophic indeed. So this was quite a challenge here. Now the stuffing box rubber's initial life before we did our test, here you can see on the left here, was prior to the test. The average life of the stuffing box rubbers was only 24 days. And on the right, you can see the polish rod centralizer was installed. So after we installed the polish rod centralizers, the run life of the stuffing box rubbers increased to over 600 days. So that's over a 25-fold increase in the life of the stuffing box rubbers. And here's the polish rod centralizer. And these were placed above the BOP here. So they did have the 18-inch barrels. So we did put an extension riser on there. Another way this could have been done is we could have eliminated the extension riser and put the polish rod centralizer below the BOP, or had a shorter barrel and a shorter extension riser. In this case, they had plenty of room below the carrier bar, so they went in this direction. Now, this polish rod centralizer will add 4 inches to your stack height. Other benefits include the fact that it's so easy to install. There's no rig required. Installing a polish rod centralizer is as easy as installing a stuffing box. The centralizers are rated to 3,000 psi, and the PTF inserts will keep the trash and debris from getting in the stuffing box rubbers, and they're good to 500 degrees. And when installing a polish rod centralizer with your stuffing box, it's recommended you use new rubbers on there and don't over tighten, and always fill the stuffing box with grease. The reason being, when you start up that initial production, when you start the unit back up, the majority of your production is going to be water. So you want to make sure you keep that polish rod lubricated with that grease. And it's recommended to use a new polish rod and clean and inspect it. Make sure there's no blemishes that might hurt your stuffing box rubbers. Also, on the polish rod centralizer, clean and inspect it. Lubricate the polish rod centralizer barrel with hydraulic oil, and also fill the mandrel of the polish rod centralizer with grease to keep that polish rod lubricated upon startup. And we do recommend stripping the centralizer over the polish rod when possible, so you don't have to put any wrenches on the polish rod itself. Now, if you do need to put wrenches on the polish rod, make sure you file those off, all those striations on there, so that you don't negatively impact the stuffing box rubbers. And in summary, we've installed hundreds and hundreds of these tools domestically as well as internationally, and they've proven to improve the life of the stuffing box and mitigate catastrophic leaks wherever we've ran them. We do have these available for polish rods from 1 1/8 inch all the way up to 1 3/4 inch, and run with connections that are 8-round EUE as well as line pipe. And we've got all these different combinations available at Black Gold, ready to be assembled and deployed. So This is our presentation on Black Gold Polish Rod Centralizer. Again, I thank you very, very much for joining us today, and I look forward to any questions you may have on these tools. Thank you very much.